How's it going, baby? How you living? How you living?
I really like to take this challenge for myself, aside of just being a musician.
She had a swishy jacket and some thing in her head.
Even it's really big for you.
Yeah, it's like the size of me.
Don't worry, I won't say anything stupid. I hope. It's just like a crazy metal band, like shooting everything up.
My advice is forget the movies and look for a good job. No.
My daughter is going to sleep, so I need to say goodnight to her.
I don't want terrible things to always be happening to me and my children.
I think I was more nervous when the movie was premiering and coming out, because then I realized that people actually had to see it.
Nice to escape the studio. We have the beautiful, not sunny English countryside behind us.
This country and this world can do a whole lot better.
Wow, what a presentation.
Right, like I want people to know that you didn't just show up now.
That's where the idea of the pancake came from.
But you're the only person ever who has ever asked me that question. Ever.
Oh, wow.
Kiss me slow, don't make it soft. This is the end. How you want it.
When you're in a survival situation, something comes out of the blue, it's a passion, it's love, it's spirit, whatever it is, and it comes through at the very last minute and it saves you. But I don't want to rely on that. I've relied on that most of my life.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. I'm Mark Sugiyama from Eclectic Arts, based here in Seattle, Washington. Thank you so much for joining me on this Thursday, the 22nd of July, 2021, and a few quick housekeeping details. I do have another live stream tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Pacific, and this one's really unique because the tables will be turned. Turning over this Eclectic Arts virtual studio to Miss Sydney Sherwood, and she is going to be interviewing me. So whatever she wants to ask, I told her she has free reign to ask me anything about Eclectic Arts, about my professional career outside of Eclectic Arts, personal things, whatever. I'm pretty much an open book. So that's going to be really fun, and hopefully you can join us if you have other questions that you want to ask that Sydney can then ask me via the chat. Again, that's at 7 p.m. Pacific tomorrow night. And then I do have other streams coming up Monday. There's 2 on Tuesday now. There's Wednesday and some other things. So if you want to know the latest details of who's coming up on the live stream interviews, please join me. Please follow me as Eclectic Arts Media, one word, on Instagram. That's where I post everything first. And then some of that information migrates over to other social media platforms. If this is your first time watching me and joining me on my YouTube channel, if you could hit the subscribe button, I greatly appreciate that. If you want to know what's coming up, you can also hit the little notification bell next to it, but please be aware that will send emails to your inbox. But the subscription button will not. It might put a video of mine into your recommendations or something, but it really helps me out. I'm past the 1,000 subscriber number now, so I'm trying to move to the second level with my channel. And every subscription is always appreciated. And also, if you like the video, if you have a comment, that's always great too. That's why if you ever watch some of these YouTube channels where people have like 500,000 subscribers, that keep saying that, all these animations keep showing up. It's they want engagement with their channel, so that's why we're talking about that, and I would like engagement too. So okay, but let's get to today's interview. My guest today is an individual of many talents. She is a singer, songwriter, saxophonist, athlete, wrestler, fitness and wellness competitor, artist, painter, among other amazing attributes. Please welcome to the Eclectic Arts virtual studio, Evie B.
Hello.
Hi, how are you, Eve?
Great. I feel very flattered at that introduction. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're so talented. I can't wait to talk to you about everything that you do.
Oh, the pleasure's all mine. Believe me.
Awesome. So let's dive into like the music part first, and I definitely want to talk about your fitness and wellness and competition things that you've been doing for quite a while. So how did you get involved with music, and then where are you originally from? Are you from this area, or are you from another part?
Well, I was actually born in Los Angeles, California, the hub, and I was adopted into Washington State. So I grew up in sort of this area. I moved to Seattle just before my freshman year of high school. And that was great for me because music had always been a form of healing and deeper expression for me. And so being in this area, surrounded by the Seattle opportunities, really lifted me into the next level of where that could go. You know, it wasn't just doing music at home by myself with the door closed as a form of therapy. It actually became a way for me to interact with people. So I would say getting into the music scene, was always playing music, was always doing music projects for class growing up, elementary and high school. All of my projects I was playing something or making some big video music project. So getting into the scene, I think I was about 19 years old when I started playing and had to kind of find the clubs that would allow underage performers and sort of started from there.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And really quickly, hi, Tony. Good to see you over there in the Pittsburgh area. It has been a while, but that's okay. I totally understand you're busy, as everyone is. So I'm just glad that you're able to tune in while we're talking with Eve here. And Eve, you mentioned that you've always had music involved with all the way back to elementary projects, all the way through your school years, as a form of therapy and things of that nature. So are you self-taught? Were you taking lessons, both? What kind of background do we have as a musician?
Definitely self-taught. I realized that I was channeling greater energies from a very young age. And so I just let that come through me. It first came out on the piano. My little keyboard that I got for Christmas one year had 6 tracks, and you could kind of pick any sound in the book and record these layers. And I would just come up with these things. And my dad is so sweet. He would always say, I need to record that, but I would always just wipe it and start over, you know.
Okay, that's interesting. So it sounds like, is there like a laundry list of instruments that you play then? Or is it easy to say what you don't play? Or
Yeah, I would not professionally step on stage with, well, I don't know. It depends. It depends how much time I have to practice, I guess. But really, I've focused on becoming a precise and clean saxophonist, vocalist. I can mess around on the keys and synthesizer, and I can mess around on the bass and the guitar. And I've also spent a lot of time recently more with my computer. So designing sort of new instruments for myself through the electronic and MIDI instrument system. Been enabled because there's so much awesome technologies these days. You can just plug into your phone or your computer and play a gig, and you sound like, you know, you're an entire symphony, but you're just one person. So clearest and most precise, I would say I am a vocalist and I'm a tenor saxophonist.
Okay, that's great. And
Yeah.
and the first instrument that I started playing was alto saxophone in elementary school. So the whole sign up for an instrument kind of thing in band. And my brother picked the trumpet, and I didn't even pick the saxophone. My parents kind of picked it for me because I think we had access to one or something.
Yeah, that's how it always works.
Yeah. Then I migrated over to guitar in junior high, and that kind of became my main focus as an instrument. So.
Mm-hmm.
But with being a tenor saxophonist and a vocalist, how do you tend to write your songs then? Is it something where it just depends on the instrument, then you're sitting at a keyboard, or you're sitting with a guitar, or you're sitting with your saxophone, or just coming up with a melody in your head, or where does some of your material come from?
The material comes from the call within or without that I happen to be listening to. Now, it really depends. Are there at different times in my lives, maybe I've had a band or a close friend who I can work with musically. Like, it depends who there is. So if I'm by myself, I'm going to need more of an electronic setup, right? But if I'm with a band, I can kind of come in a more organic way, and I can speak, write out the musical lines that I'm thinking and chords, like play along on the piano what I'm thinking. It's more of a vibe that everyone feels. And especially when I'm playing with other musicians, I could have one song, but be able to play it in such a vast array of styles depending on who's playing with me. So, for instance, Pat Metheny's coming to mind for some reason. If I had the opportunity to play with Pat Metheny, I would not tell that motherfucker what to say or what to play. I would say, here's the song, and then you kind of realize who you're with, and then they get to interpret then what I laid the groundwork for. But I would say that song just comes through it's a combination of two things, the feminine and the masculine. So the melody and then the actual groove, especially with other musicians. Like I always play with the groove. When I'm by myself, I might play more with free flowing, maybe a cappella even, or just one instrument. But to really establish a groove, like that's ingrained in all living things on planet Earth. So that comes alive. But then I like to think that I channel that feminine element of, no, here's the emotions we're conveying and here's what we're transmuting. Here, it might be pain or a painful thing or whatever, but it kind of always uplifts.
Okay. Well, that's
roundabout.
No, it's in what you're saying sounds really interesting to me because I'm getting the for people out there. Evie and I have never met before. We live in the same general area of Seattle, greater general area of Seattle. But so this is my first time talking with her. It's interesting. I was actually thinking about this when we were first connecting about doing this interview. That I'm almost positive that I know I haven't seen you live, but somehow I saw something related to you doing a show. This may have been like, I don't know, 3 years ago, connected to some other local artist that I have seen or known. And I thought it was Tobias the Owl, but I might be mistaken if you were ever on a bill with him.
I may have played in his band as a saxophonist once, and maybe also my band was on a bill associated with him, or maybe in the club next door. I don't remember how I got together with Tobias the Owl, but we definitely knew who each other were. 3 years ago, when you're talking about, there was sort of this explosion and continued sizzling of the music scene here in Seattle. And so it's hard to even recall those events necessarily, because it was all the time. It was every single night. And cats like him were just out all the time. But I had a couple of conversations with him, and can't recall if we actually did play together. But yeah, I was wondering exactly how you had heard of me, but then I had also heard of you just sort of through the grapevine. So I was wondering if we had rubbed shoulders before.
Okay, yeah, and you're right. I mean, this community here, particularly in the singer-songwriter area, there's so much talent around here. And then I met somebody, then I saw somebody over here who then said, Mark, what about this? And after a while, it just became, there's so many shows going on, and let alone all the touring acts that were coming through, which is exciting. I mean, I can't wait to see that kind of thing. And we're slowly getting back to that now, where some of the clubs around here are opening back up. And,
we are, yeah.
And doing shows. And I think, now I think about part of the clip that I showed here, you had Kathleen Parrish, I think, doing some vocals, and I saw Kathleen at the Funhouse. So,
good.
So there's yet another local connection.
Yes. Yeah, I saw that. I was so surprised that you threw that clip up there. Kathleen Parrish, for those who don't know, is an amazing Seattle vocalist, and she had contacted me one day, and it was at the point where I was producing my own music, and that was new for me at the time. And so she said, let's see what you can do, and let's see what we can do with this. So we met up and recorded that one together, but then I ended up in the music video sort of expressing her vocal parts because I was in Colorado at the time and she was unable to film, and we wanted to put it out or whatever. But yeah, good little clip you grabbed there.
Okay, and you mentioned earlier too that you've been using a lot of electronic, digital, the software is all out there now to create your own music. So where are we at now musically before we move over to the fitness side of things?
Where are we at now musically? Well, to say it, I hit a wall would be an understatement. To say I hit a wall. And I would say maybe 2 years ago, I stopped pushing against the brick wall. I realized that I needed to bring some other aspects of my life together or up to the same level of where I was trying to go. So I stopped pushing with my personal project playing live, and I started sort of retreating into, I know that I'm about to catapult off and have tremendous opportunities and a tremendous platform or stage, if you will. So I really needed to take some time to think before I got to that point, or not just to think, but to empty all the thoughts and really realize what is my purpose on a grand scale with music in this world, and who would I like to present myself as, not in a fake way, but in an honest, genuine way, because any other way is exhausting and not sustainable. So I stand here today on July 22nd, able to say that I have surpassed that wall and I'm here. And I do have some new music coming out, a couple projects, 2 main songs that I'm really, really excited about. They're both finalizing contracts, but they will be out there and you will hear them.
That's awesome and so exciting for you. That's
Thank
great.
you.
That you not only that you got past that hump or that wall, but that you also had the foresight to know I need to kind of take some time to rethink of how do I want to put myself out there, because I know the groundswell is there and it's starting to happen, and I don't want to put it out maybe the way it was at that time a couple of years ago. It's kind of like, well, let me kind of rethink this and then get all the ducks in a row and then start working at it.
That's exactly it. Not even from a place of forbearing embarrassment, but like, I want to use this opportunity, not just for personal gain, but really, I feel deeply within myself that this is an opportunity for me to grow into the highest version of myself. And that's really what I want to put out there. So that's what I'm working on.
Yeah, again, that's really exciting. So everyone out there, it sounds like we're going to be hearing new music very soon from you.
Yes.
And it can come really at a better time that things are obviously, like we're talking about, opening up pandemic-wise. And everyone's just kind of been waiting for artists to have the chance to get out there with their music, perhaps perform it live down the road, depending on where they're at. And so I'm also curious, does that mean when you had this time to kind of pull back and rethink about the music, is that when you were kind of refocusing on the fitness and everything else on that side of what you do?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even say it's a refocus. It was kind of like a new awakening. I mean, I was always an active kid. I played a lot of sports. I never thought I would get very far because of my breathing. I was born in Los Angeles, which is known for its smog, and my parents were no exception to that sort of environment, living in that sort of smoky, not wasteland. That's not a very nice thing to say, but it's not the healthiest, right? I think we could all agree that there's lots of toxins we could identify in that part of the country. But in reaching the decision that I made, in becoming a saxophonist and doing what I was doing, that definitely gave me a new sense of power. And I can't even remember how exactly I started to get into it, but I started to get into it. I just had this deep need within me, and I jumped back into martial arts. Martial arts was a soft reintroduction with kung fu and self-defense classes at Bellevue College. It was a very soft reintroduction, and then I dove in headfirst. Was training at the Shaolin Temple in 2016. Now, my music was really, really on fire in 2015. So 2016, I think, is when I kind of dove into a new path of self-growth, knowing what was to come. So it was sort of an introduction to a new feeling of purpose and pursuit. And I really followed that. I followed that incredibly up until this point. And yeah, it's been a journey. I don't even know really where to begin.
Okay, well, for those out there that are watching this now or watching this down the road, one thing that we can probably kind of segue into is that you have a background in wrestling, and that at some point, maybe you can help me with the timeline, a film crew decided to make a film about your journey. So when did you start getting an interest in wrestling? Was that also around the same time as the martial arts? Did that come later? And then what's been that? I can only imagine, having talked to a few athletes, of like the amount of sacrifice and dedication they put into just, I mean, it's just relentless what they have to do.
It is, and especially as you do find people, musician athletes, and I think that all centers around like the breath, right? Once you're a master of that, you can kind of do anything. So in 2018, I had gotten deep enough with the martial arts that I felt comfortable having person-to-person combat matches. And I was doing that in my own time. And I was also training. So to get ready for these like matches, I was studying jujitsu among other arts, but primarily jujitsu is something I could kind of go to every single day. And I actually have a jujitsu class later tonight at 7. I'm excited for. But it was kind of a way to totally dive in and transform all of my skills in a real, very real way. Like jujitsu is something where I'm about 150 pounds, give or take. But I could be put against a 100-pounder or a 200-pounder or a 300-pounder. And with jujitsu, you can always, I can always theoretically find a way to dominate the situation. So I was learning these kind of skills that progressed me. I was also covered in bruises because that's just sort of the name of the game with jiu-jitsu. I was really training, really pushing myself. And so my friends naturally asked questions, and eventually a friend of a friend is this incredible video maker from Los Angeles. And he wanted to make a video about what I was doing. What I was doing in my one-on-one matches was not like a public affair necessarily. So he asked me if I could do a public competition. So naturally I started looking for jiu-jitsu competitions, and nobody I knew could really get my foot in the door with that. I mean, you can always sort of start from scratch, but what I did find was an opportunity to wrestle at the US Open National Wrestling Championship, where Team USA members frequent. And I mean, it's a qualifying. If you get a place high in this competition, you know, you have a chance at even bigger matches, and there's a whole qualification process for like the Olympics and all that. So I ended up getting a foot in the door with that, and I just went with it. So as you could see in Takedown the movie, I said I always wanted to wrestle, but that's not something that girls were ever allowed to do in my household. And yeah, in a way it was sort of a repressed desire. And so finally I got the opportunity when I was over 18, and, you know, I'm an adult, you know, you can't stop me. And boom, it just took me to the moon, so to speak. So I got into it. The wrestling community is such that if you're down to wrestle and you're down to learn and work hard, like you will just go on to the next thing, next opportunity, and everyone's willing to have you in the gym and whatnot. So kind of just jump in there from ground zero. And yeah, none of those people know that I've been playing music on the big stage for the last 5 years or whatever. None of them know anything about me or why a 25, 26, 27-year-old is like in their gym doing this. I don't even know the answer to that question, but that was the path that led me to here. So it's not even my background, but I got into it 2018. I kept with it. I could have given it up after the movie, but I didn't. I went back the next year to the US Open. I trained all year. I mean, I got my butt kicked, obviously, the first year, and then again the next year, but I lasted longer. And from there, I got accepted into a college wrestling program. So this is an NCAA Division II wrestling program. And it was a friend of a friend who introduced me to the coach and put in a good word for me. And I decided I'm going to do that to go back to college and get my degree. Because since playing music, I haven't finished my degree. I started my degree in biology at Oregon State University. And then I had a breakup and started playing the saxophone. And that's when you see me at 19 years old in Seattle playing sax. Yeah.
Wow, you have such an interesting journey that you've been on, and some of these things, like you've said, seem like they're very organic. But like with the jiu-jitsu and the martial arts and the wrestling, some of that could have been a calling, but also part of it sounded like it kind of happened. And it wasn't like you said, "This is my plan. I'm going to do this." It's like, well, no, a friend of a friend knew this filmmaker, and then someone knew the coach at the college, and then you decided to take advantage of these opportunities and push it forward. I'm just kind of a curious person.
Yeah.
Maybe you see this down the road, or maybe it's already happened. Do you see these worlds coming together in some fashion? I don't know what that would look like. If it's like you doing your own video of some sports-related event that you're at, and then you're doing the music over it or something, or I just
yes. Absolutely. And it's already started to happen for me. And I could say I had already seen it like as two congruent things, but the worlds are still very much separate in a lot of ways, like not necessarily in my perception, but in their perception. And there had been a lot of confusion of the two, not really getting it, and also therefore an outcasting and a shunning of my participation in either because of participation in the other. I used to play a lot of jazz. A lot of my friends, especially in New Orleans, jazz guys, when you're trying to qualify for an Olympic event, as we all know with the event with Sha'Carri Richardson and all that, you can't have any THC in your system. Okay, try explaining that to any jazz musician in New Orleans. You know what I mean? Like, it's been a journey. It's been, I wouldn't change anything about it. But it definitely, to me, makes clear, it's almost as if I'm sort of working on all these skills, trying to get to the next level, and the balance of these two really cuts out all the extra stuff that really doesn't matter, that trims the fat, if you will, to kind of get to the next level. So I'm really thankful that I've been even able to participate physically in wrestling over the past couple of years, and it's just been the most amazing thing of my life so far.
Okay, well, I hope at some point, and it sounds based on the last 30 minutes of you and I talking, that you're going to keep pursuing what you have in your heart and in your soul, regardless of if people in certain areas, if it's the wrestling community or the jiu-jitsu community, not maybe necessarily embracing the music side of you. That's kind of like, well, I don't give a damn. I'm going to do what I do and see what happens, because then there might be a third community that you get involved with down the road and other kinds of things. And if it's organic to you and your true self, then I get the impression you're going to move forward with it and just kind of damn the torpedoes.
I like how you said that. I agree.
Awesome. That's how I look at things too. I don't like to think in terms of limits. It's kind of like, if I want to do something, then I'm going to pursue it. I've talked about this during some of my other live streams, where some of the local media community, when I was covering concerts, when I wasn't doing the theater and the opera and all these kind of things, they hadn't seen me in a while, and they're like, "Mark, where you been?" And when I explained that I've been covering the Pacific Northwest Ballet or the Seattle Opera, the first thing out of their mouth was, "Why?"
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, well, this is something that I would like to learn about. It's something artistic. It's a live performance. There's all kinds of things that are very similar to being at El Corazon for a metal show. And once I explained that, then they understood. But initially, I think they just kind of missed their friend. So,
yeah.
But
yeah, and there's certain stigmas too, depending on where you go, you know. And that's just at the heart of anything. That's never at the core of anyone's true beliefs, but it's just these little surface level, no, that can't be, you know, just little negative no. And you kind of get that from everyone. And so at a certain point, you really, it's not so much like, I don't care what anyone thinks. I mean, I am a part of the collective. I do feel, and I'm subjected to what everybody else thinks and feels. But we're given this life to rise up and be who we are. And so I'm gonna take this opportunity and do it big because I can.
Yeah, very well said. I totally agree with that mentality. Before we kind of get close to wrapping this up, Eve, you are, correct me if I'm wrong, are you currently in a competition now, like something that you're training for? Any kind of, I thought I saw something about a competition that you were doing or you are doing.
You did see that. I was competing for this Muscle and Fitness magazine, you know, get enough votes and you can make the cover and get a little centerfold. And I kind of wanted to talk philosophy and sort of reach out to my community and stuff like that. It ended up being sort of a scam is a harsh word here, but you can pay for votes. And so a lot of the other competitors were doing that, and that's not something that I wanted to put my friends and fans through. And I wanted to focus on something else that's more merit-based and not money-based. So I challenged myself this year really quick. Yeah, I know we're wrapping up, but so because of wrestling, I had torn both of my shoulders. So I had surgery in February, and this one is sewn back on, and this one is not. And so I've been running. It's been about 6 months now, so I've gotten the okay to kind of ease back into stuff. And I ran my first marathon 3 weekends ago. And like I said, I had asthma as a kid. I never thought I would be able to do college sports or whatever, but I did. And here I am running a marathon after surgery, and rest in peace after the death of my beautiful mother a couple of weeks ago. And so there's nothing immediately in my path because I am forging new opportunities for myself at this time. But I look forward to whatever may fall in my lap.
Sorry, I'm back.
Welcome back, Mark. That's okay.
You're right in the middle of all this heartfelt talk.
That's okay. I continued on for the audience. I'll just fill you in. I said that I have nothing planned for the immediate future because I've had a lot of little roadblocks here and there. But I'm putting myself in a good position to be ready for the next opportunity that comes to me. and I'm really excited for what comes next. I don't know what it's going to be. I've put out a lot of feelers, but so far I'm just focused on the music, and I'm going to keep running. I'm going to keep doing marathons and biking. That's where I'm at.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say congratulations on your first marathon.
Thank you. I have my little medal right here. I can show it off. I'm sure lots of marathon runners up in here. There's more than you would think out there. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And I'm also sincerely sorry about the passing of your mother.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's all got to be just a extremely trying and horrible time to something to go through. So yeah, I'm sincerely sorry for that.
Thank you. I just wanted to share that because I know I'm not the only one going through things like this. So we are all human at the end of the day, and these connections really deeply impact us. That's another wonderful thing I'm looking forward to about Takedown becoming public is my mom and dad have little interviews in there, and the things that she said were just so darn sweet. And I'm happy that all happened the way that it did.
Oh, that's awesome. So they're going to be, she'll be, everyone will get a chance to hear some of her wisdom.
Yes.
Through the film. And for people that you joined us late, Eve's film Takedown is in the festival circuit right now. So once that's kind of run its course, then that's when they can start looking at distribution for public consumption. If that's through theaters, through digital platforms, all of the above seems to be popular these days. So that's really exciting that that's happening. And I always have this question when you mentioned earlier that you had 2 new songs coming out really soon. Do you have any plans to do anything with physical media? Is there going to be any kind of a vinyl release, a CD, any other kind of thing related to you that's coming out? A T-shirt? I don't know. A poster?
Yes, physical media. Yeah, you might not expect this particularly, but I am about to release. You can buy my canvas paintings and prints that will be coming soon. Vinyls and CDs, I'm holding off. So the things that I'm coming out, 2 new projects, they are singles with other artists from Seattle that you have definitely heard of. And so we're not going to do vinyls or anything like that. There will be a music video. Again, not physical, but something to look forward to. And EVB music, my own set. It's still in the works. So you really got to hang tight with me. A couple more things need to happen in my physical space for me to really lay it down and put that out. But trust me, it is coming. And I'm not the kind of person who gives up on this sort of thing. So
yeah, you don't strike me as the kind of person who gives up on much of anything. It's more of like, it could be like you had to pause like you did with your music a few years ago. But it wasn't like you said, I'm done with this, I'm never coming back to it. No, you're coming back to it at some point, and it's still just on the peripheral of your radar at that point. And then it started moving towards the center of it.
Correct.
And I love that kind of thing. So, well, Eve, thank you so much for taking the time today. I really enjoyed talking to you and getting to learn everything about you. And maybe at some point, not only will I get to hear these new tunes and see a new music video, but maybe I'll get the chance to actually see you at some point in person at a club around here, or maybe, I don't know, running a marathon or doing something.
You will probably see it. Yeah. Seattle will always be home to me. So you will definitely see me here. You will definitely see me along the West Coast, California, specifically. And then also I pop up over to New Orleans from time to time regularly. So you could probably count on seeing me there too within the next year or so. I'm definitely out there, and I got people asking me to play shows. It's just a matter of deciding, this is a tough time as far as counting on other people. So if I'm putting on shows by myself, you'll most likely see me as a DJ, which more means on the electronic and, solo side of things. But I will be out there. So
awesome. I love all of it. So, I mean, I've covered all kinds of electronica things to the darkest metal things that come through. So I run that gamut. So
yeah,
if there's just some sort of music period, then I'll probably already have an interest in it. So
Cool.
yeah. So again, Eve, thank you so much for taking the time. And perhaps once those singles come out, we can maybe reconvene and do a follow-up so we can actually talk about the music, and maybe the video will be out at that point too.
Yes, that would be awesome. I will definitely let you know.
Sounds good. Have a great afternoon over there in West Seattle, and hopefully I see you sooner than later.
Thanks. I really appreciate it. It was nice to chat with you, Mark.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
You too.